So Manchester City are apparently leading the chase to sign Morgan Gibbs-White this summer. Welcome to your Forest news. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to your latest Forest news, where we're going to be talking about Morgan Gibbs-White and the upcoming fixtures today. So if you are enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed if you're new here. There is going to be a video this afternoon on Patreon with me and Sava thrashing out what's going to happen between Forest and Spurs on Monday. And I'm going to be doing a double watch along. So come on, you Toffees. And I think come on, you Newcastle. I think, who do we want to win out of Villa and Newcastle? Let me know which way you want that result to go in the comments. Make sure you join us. We'll kick off at 5-3 this afternoon. All right, let's talk about Morgan Gibbs-White. And quite frankly, I'm bored of talking about him. I feel like every other video at the moment is about Morgan Gibbs-White and this potential transfer move. Now, the reason I am bringing it up is because it's starting to gather a little pace and the snowball is getting a bit bigger. In fact, I've had all the City YouTubers on the phone to me saying, yo, what are you saying about Morgan Gibbs-White? And don't worry, I am not doing a Jono this time. I'm downplaying him. I'm saying how bad he is and he won't fit in their team. And I'm kind of doing my bit to reduce the hype on him. But why is this gathering pace? Now, it's because the Times have released an article talking about City and talking about how he is now their number one target for the summer to replace Kevin De Bruyne. Look, we don't need to go into the full backstory of it all. I'll bore you guys by repeating the same thing. So I'll leave a couple of links on the end screen if you haven't checked the backstory, or maybe this is breaking news to you guys. But let's run through this article. As I said, it's in the Times. It says Gibbs-White, Man City are leading the chase for Forest midfielder. And it starts off, its very first words are, Man City are understood to be the front runners to sign Morgan Gibbs-White this summer if he leaves Forest. If he leaves Forest. The midfielder has had another standout season at the City ground as Forest look to secure a place in the Champions League for the first time, blah, blah, blah. It's understood Forest have no desire to sell the 25-year-old who they signed from Wolves in 2022 and are not in a financial position where they need to sell. But it's expected that clubs will come in to test their resolve once the window opens. City are believed to be considered the front runners to land the England international as they look to find a replacement for KDB. And the reason is there's a new director who's coming in. He's replacing Tiki at Man City, and Gibbs-White, with his links to City as he is close friends with Phil Foden, the two form a bond while playing at the England under-17s, and the City star named his Forest rival as godfather to his child Ronnie. So it goes on to say a bit more background onto it, but this is the key one I want to talk to you about. It says, after a stellar season where Forest sit 4th with 6 games to go, blah, blah, blah. Previously, they would worry about losing their top players to those deemed in the historic Big Six, in quotes. There is a feeling top players will want to stay at the City ground. Forest have previously tried a dangerous line when it's come to the PSR rules, and breached and given up final points. We know that. They have got themselves back on track. There would once have been a need to sell to stay within financial parameters, but now that's no longer the case. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack from all of that. Firstly, the headline, as always, is the big news, the thing they want you to kind of fear, and that says Man City leading the chase for Morgan Gibbs-White. But as I say, the subheading on this is Forest have no desire to sell the star playmaker, but champions would be front runners should a fee be reached. And this is the thing. The key thing in all of this is we don't need to sell. And I've been saying this consistently since last summer. Once the Premier League teams figured out how to get around PSR, as we saw between us and Newcastle with Vlachodimos, with Elliot Anderson. You saw it with Chelsea and Villa, with Maatsen going one way. You saw Brighton doing a bit of it and a couple of other clubs. Now that the teams have figured out how to do this, even if you are in so-called financial trouble, you've just got to buddy up, man. It's just like, you know, going out for an evening on the dance floor. You just got to find a willing partner to dance with you. And they don't even have to be a good dancer. As long as there's something they want in exchange, you're fine. So PSR is not an issue. We saw last summer, Marcus Guehi is always the example I go to when Newcastle tried to get him from Palace. And Palace is like, nah. And they kept adding 10 million every time they called. You saw as well, Branthwaite from Everton, Man U, tried to bully him out of it. And Everton were like, nah. And they were in financial trouble. And then you saw Newcastle trying to get Elanga as well on the last day. And Forest are like, we don't need to sell him. We'll keep him. So there's no worries about PSR. And what I take away from this article is the fact that even the Times are agreeing with me that there's no risk of financial worries with Forest this season because of many different factors. Because of the deals we did in the summer just gone, because the Brennan Johnson money, because it wasn't accounted for in the year we breached, it went into the next year. That's all pure profit as well. Let's not forget. So £48 million pure profit on that. And because Forest are going to be hopefully going into the Champions League, okay, that's not going to be this PSR cycle for the 30th of June, but I expect them Forest to do their business post 30th of June anyway in the transfer window, because there's no need really to balance the books before then. So everything is fine on that. Now, is there a scenario where Gibbs-White leaves Forest to go to a Man City, as is being linked here? The answer to that is, of course, yes. There are probably three scenarios in my mind. Number one, Gibbs-White isn't happy at Forest and wants to leave. That could be one scenario. Number two, Man City come with a offer of, say, 100 million and Forest value him at 80 million. And they think to themselves, you know what, we can sell him. We could probably go and get Cherky from Lyon for 29 million. And that will leave us with nearly 70 million net profit on that transaction, obviously not via PSR. So that's another option. And the third option would be if Forest were in financial trouble and needed to sell him and try to do a cut price. I don't think any of those options are viable right now, apart from the second one where Man City overpay. Now that could happen because this article says that there are many other clubs that are going to test Forest resolve. And I don't see that as something that worries me, because if that is the case and more clubs come in, then there could be a bidding war on Gibbs-White. It could push it from 70 million up to 80, up to whatever. So, you know, and the other thing is you're going to have to put an English tax on it and a Premier League tax on it as well when it comes to Gibbs-White, and a homegrown tax on it. So he's actually a very sellable asset. And when you look at other deals that have happened in and around this, don't forget Man City paid 100 million for Grealish at Aston Villa. And he had as much hype as Morgan Gibbs-White currently has with the Forest squad. But I still think that the talks of Morgan Gibbs-White sitting down to extend his contract is probably what we're going to see happen. Those talks came up in January this year. And the expectation still is that Gibbs-White will sit down and have a talk and look to extend. He's still got a couple of years left on his Forest deal. So again, there's no major rush. If this was next year and he was down to 1 year, then I could see that being another reason why Forest would look to sell. So the only thing that would worry me about this new contract deal is if a release clause is put in. Now, Forest are very good of late of not putting release clauses in. But if there's an insistence on it, it will be a case of, do Gibbs-White's party agree with the valuation of Forest for a release clause? My guess is it would be like 90 million if a release clause came in. I can't see a scenario where they put one in for 60 million or something silly like that. There could be a relegation release clause or a not getting Europe clause. Things like that might come into it, but whether or not that happens, we'll have to wait and see. So I'm very calm about this Gibbs-White situation. I don't see really how Man City end up getting him unless they're paying 95 million. I think that would be enough to make Forest think, okay, we can probably replace him. Maybe we're not someone as good, but there is potential out there that can be used. But maybe some of you would sell him. Let me know in the comments if the oil money came in flashing under your nose. What number would it take for you to sell him? Let me know in the comments down below. So that's the latest on Gibbs-White. Hopefully this will die down for a bit. All the City fans are getting all excited and everything. I can't see it happening, but you never know with football. Things change in literally a matter of minutes. We'll be back at 2:55 with the watch along. First one is Everton versus Man City, coincidentally. So make sure you tune in there and come on, you toffees, on that one. If you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new, and we'll see you for the watch along in a little bit. Come on, you Reds.